A little autumn sewing plans. I've been loving learning how to quilt, but let me know in the comments which you think. Should I make a matching project bag to go with this one, or should I make it out of this? Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel and this is my channel where I share everything to do with living a handmade, homegrown and slow life. So today I thought I would do a little autumn sewing plans. I know it's a little bit late to be putting this out because it's almost the end of October, and I did put my autumn knitting plans up really early, like back in August, because I start my knitting really early. But to be honest, I haven't really done an awful lot of sewing yet this season, and there's a few little bits that I'm wanting to make over the next few weeks before we get fully into Christmas. I know with crafting and stuff, I do try to start earlier, especially like Christmas, so I am popping in a few Christmas presents here and there, but I just thought it would be fun to go through some of my autumnal fabrics and what I'm hoping to make. There's not an awful lot of stuff because I don't really need much stuff in my wardrobe this year. I may add maybe one more piece of fabric over the next few weeks possibly. I'm thinking about buying, but for now this is probably all that's going to be made, and then as I say, there's a little bit of Christmas and stuff, so I'll probably do a Christmas makes video, although quite a lot of that is going to be gifts, so I don't know how I'm going to manage that. We'll see. But yeah, hopefully you guys will enjoy this. It's one of my sort of good old-fashioned classic videos that I used to make with all of my sewing plans. So shall we dig straight in? Okay, so here's my little stack of fabrics. Oh, I've just realised there's one missing. Okay, so the one that I just grabbed, let's start with that because that's what's on the top of the pile. Basically, I would really like to make a quilted project bag. So I made this really cute quilted little project bag over the summer, which has been perfect for socks, and I think I popped a hat in here on my summer holiday, and yeah, I guess gloves and things as well. So basically little projects fit really well in here and I can put all bits and bobs and stuff. But I wanted to make a bigger project bag that I could fit, like a jumper size or a cardigan size or something. And I've sort of been backwards and forwards about what fabric to use. So the pattern I know, I already have the pattern. I haven't made it yet, but it's Rosie Caldwell's quilted project bag pattern. It's a really lovely drawstring, just sort of classic flat bottom bucket bag type thing. So that's going to work really, really well, I think. And I'm sort of tempted. So this is made from thrifted fabric from the flea market, which worked really well because I had the zip in the perfect colour and the lining as well. And I'm sort of like, do I make a matching one? Because I've got a lot of the fabric left. So do I make a matching one? Because it's a bit of a sort of canvassy cotton, so it's a bit stiff, which I think works quite well for these quilted project bags. And so I have the little one and the big one. The other option is to make out of this fabric. Now this is a bit of a upcycling project. This is a dress which I bought back in 2017 that I wore quite a lot, and then when I became ill my body changed a lot and it didn't fit anymore, and to be honest by that point it had been worn so much that the armpits are slightly discoloured and stuff, so I sold a lot of my clothes on Vinted that didn't fit, but this was one that I didn't feel like I could sell because, as I say, there was sort of a bit of staining and stuff. I didn't think it was good enough condition, but I just love this print so much, and there is no staining on the skirt, and the skirt is gathered, so I think there's actually an awful lot of fabric here. It's almost a bit sort of William Morrissey. It's an olive print fabric and I just think it's gorgeous, but I'm sort of because I love it, do I make a project bag out of it that I'm going to use all the time, or do I make a tote bag out of it that I will, use to take out and about? Because it's a bit of a sort of neutral, so I feel like it could be really lovely as a tote bag. I think I probably need to take the skirt off and undo the seams and actually have a look, because I assume it's 2 rectangles and they've been gathered in at the waist. And basically see how much fabric there actually is. Obviously there's a bit in the bodice as well, and there's some pockets, so there is quite a lot of fabric here, but I probably just need to have a proper look at this. But let me know in the comments which you think. Should I make a matching project bag to go with this one, or should I make it out of this? To be honest with you, I used to always be a mono knitter, but now I sort of have started doing like a few little things at once because it depends what I feel like working on. So I'm also like, I could just make 2 project bags. The pattern that I'm using comes actually in 3 different sizes. So I could make, you know, like the large size in this to go with that, and then maybe the medium size in this. And then I've got a choice of project bags. But then, as I say, will I get more wear out of this as a tote bag? I don't know. Let me know in the comments below what you think. I would really appreciate your advice. But that is my first project for autumn. Okay, my next one, is a heavy one. You guys might remember this if you watched my fabric stash tour. When we moved house, I did a little tour of my fabric as I was unpacking it from the boxes. And I basically picked up 2 of these like rust orange velvet curtains from the charity shop for £8, and they're huge. I haven't yet tried washing this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a swatch and wash it and see what happens and see if it's washable, and if it's not, I don't know if I will make a dress with it, but I'm hoping it is. A lot of the comments on that video were that it's probably a cotton velvet and it'll probably be fine. So I'm hoping that that is the case. I still need to take these apart and decurtainify them, and as I say, wash a swatch and double check that it will survive. But my plan with this is to make a daisy dress by Rosary Apparel. So I have actually already made this dress once before, although it's not actually finished. It's in a basket. I started making it at the end of summer and the weather turned and I just didn't really get time to finish it. To be honest, it's navy blue and it would go really nicely with boots and cardigan and stuff in the winter, so I really do need to finish that dress because I think I can probably wear it. But you know when you just like lose motivation when the season changes and you want to move into the next season? That's where I ended up at. Anyway, the daisy dress pattern is a lovely V-neck, button up the front, puff sleeved dress by Rosary Apparel. I need to make a few adjustments, which I've discovered on the first one that I've made, but they're not difficult adjustments. So I think that could work really well. And I love the idea of doing like fabric covered buttons. So the buttons would be quite large and they would be covered in the orange velvet as well. And it has quite a full skirt and pockets. I would do the midi length version. I'd probably do the short sleeves because it'll be quite warm being velvet. But that's what I'd like to make out of this lovely rusty coloured fabric. Okay, the next one I also need your help. I have this gorgeous double gauze fabric. I think I've got 4 meters, and it's this lovely navy with a brown, yellow and orange check through it, super autumnal tones. I absolutely love this. When I saw this, I was like, oh, that's so perfect for autumn. I'm actually wearing a double gauze now. Double gauze is one of my favourite fabrics to work with and to wear because it sews and presses a bit like just a standard cotton. It has a bit of stiffness to it, but it's so soft and it's, you know, double layered being the double gauze, so it keeps you cool in the winter because it allows airflow through the body, but it keeps you keeps you cool in the summer, keeps you warm in the winter because it's a double layer, so again it keeps sort of warm air flowing through the body. So it's a really good fabric I find to wear all year round. So I'm trying to decide what to make with this. I was going to make the Eleonora dress by Silver Saga Patterns, which I have, but I've had some trouble printing out. I bought it and then I got quite frustrated because I couldn't print it out. I can probably figure it out, but I'm sort of questioning whether or not now I actually want to make that, or whether I want to make the Davenport dress, because I have a Davenport dress already in a double gauze that is knee length, and I've been wearing that so much because it's so comfy, it's long sleeved, and so I'm sort of like, actually, do I just want to make another one of those because it's such a comfy dress, and I would probably make it just slightly longer, so it would be midi length rather than knee length. So with the Davenport dress, there is the first top skirt panel and then there's a ruffle, so just make that top skirt panel just a little bit longer so that it's a midi length, and then I could wear this with brown boots. And as I say, it worked so well in the double gauze. The frill sits really nicely. I just think it's really cute. So I'm just sort of, yeah, I'm trying to decide what to do. I think as well, this fabric works well for the frill because it's navy on the underside, so it won't look like, you know, it's showing like a raw side underneath the frill. So I don't know, what do you guys think? Shall I make the Eleonora dress, which I've never made before, or shall I make a dress that I know fits, that I've made, that's not a particularly difficult sew, I've already got the pattern and I can cut it out really easily? I'm sort of like always between, should I like try a new pattern and be exciting, or should I just make an old favourite because it's just lovely to just sew something that you've already done before? So let me know in the comments what you think I should make out of this, but I really want to get on with it because it's just so lovely for this time of year. I think I'm going to try and cut this out this week and start sewing it this week so that it gets some wear. I'm going to make long sleeved, whether it's the Eleonora dress or the Davenport, I'll make the long sleeve version so it can be piled up with cardigans and jumpers as it gets even colder. At the moment it's actually fairly mild in Worcestershire. But that's that fabric. And then we move on to this massive basket of stuff. So in here, you might be able to see is a bunch of autumnal fabrics. These are scraps and remnants from dresses and bits and bobs that I've made over the years. I basically kept them thinking, oh, I might be able to make a quilt or a patchwork quilt with those lovely autumn colours because they all go together. And so that's what I've been trying to do. You will hopefully see soon that I finished the quilt that I've been making over the last 6 months, which is for our bedroom. I just need to do the wadding, the backing and the hand quilting on it. But the actual piecing together the top piece is done, which is really exciting. So I started working on this because I've been loving learning how to quilt. I find it really relaxing because I basically within like an hour's sewing session can cut out all the pieces and sew them all together to make one block, which is just such a nice little like easy palette cleanser, super chill. I have space now to keep my cutting board out in our spare bedroom so I can just go over there, cut the pieces that I need. So I actually have made a couple of quilt blocks already. So I made these two. This is the only orange that I had. Hopefully you guys can see this. This is the only orange that I had. So I've only got 2 of these because I couldn't make more, sadly. I would have loved to have done, but there wasn't enough of the orange fabric left. So I've got 2 pumpkins and I've made a star. And I think I've basically sort of drawn up and designed a quilt where I'm going to make a few stars and then a few blocks that are traditional square patchwork all stuck together. And then the pumpkins will go in between those and I'm going to sort of mishmash it all together because I really want it to be like, it's so tempting to go and buy new fabrics and make it so much easier for myself because mashing all of the bits together, I don't know how far I will get. But I said that last time with my other quilt and I was really pleased that I managed to get essentially enough blocks out to make the full-sized quilt that I wanted to make. So I'm hoping that will be the case with this, that I can have a route around in my scraps and try and squeeze out as much as possible. I don't want to make a ginormous quilt. It's more for like using, you know, cuddling up in front of the TV and doing some knitting. So it only really needs to be lap size. So I don't need to make too much, but it would be nice if it was big enough to be able to like share it with my husband. So yeah, that is one of my other sort of ongoing sewing projects. I'm not gonna lie, I could easily, like, I've not been doing a lot of sewing recently because I've been very busy with promoting my book, so I feel like it could easily become a autumnal quilt that ends up getting finished in like January. And then it gets used next autumn, but that's okay. Like, you know, it's fine. I don't want to stress myself out. So we'll see sort of how quickly I can get on with these projects. And then the final project, let me just grab it. So the final project is actually a Christmas dress. It is not an autumn dress, but because sort of Christmas events and Christmas things start, I think the first Christmas market round here is on the 22nd of November. So it starts really early, but I personally have got my first like Christmas event weekend, etc. is the very last weekend in November. So I want to make my Christmas dress so that I can wear it a few times. I know a lot of people just make it and they save it and they wear it on Christmas Day. But I would like to wear it a few times throughout December. So I picked up this gorgeous this is a very fine needle cord with embroidered bows on. This is from Hey Sew Sister. It's in this lovely Bordeaux, which you can see obviously because it matches the dress I'm wearing. It's a colour that I love. And I just thought that was so sweet with the little bows on. It feels so Christmassy. But what I also love though is I thought that it was a colour that would be really good you know, for the rest of the winter. So in January I have my wedding anniversary, and obviously in February we have Valentine's Day, and I thought actually the pink and the sort of reddy colour actually would go really nicely for all of those events and all of those like dinners out and special occasions. So I just thought it was one of those where it's a Christmassy dress but not too Christmassy, so it gets plenty of wear, which is really important for me when I'm making special occasion outfits, that they actually get plenty of wear. I don't want to put all that effort and sewing time into something that's not going to get that much wear. I think, to be honest, I'm going to keep it really basic. I made a lemon print dress that I love, which is like an occasion dress that I wear a lot to weddings and things, which has got big puff sleeves. It is the Tilly and the Buttons indigo dress, except I added a ruffle on the bottom and I swapped out the sleeves for the Anthea blouse sleeves by Anna Allen Clothing, which I've used those sleeves a couple of times on different things. And basically, to have the impact of the big sleeves, you need a fabric that's stiff. You need like a cotton, or I think this would work. I'm hoping it works. I'm hoping it's not too slouchy, but I just think that could be really, really cute to have. It's sort of an empire line dress, a ruffle at the bottom, and then a big puff sleeve. I think that would be really nice for Christmas and other occasions. You know, I'm going to the theatre, I'm going out for dinner, things like that. So yeah, I absolutely love this fabric. I cannot wait to wear it at Christmas, but I will be working on this in November, which is why it's in my autumn sewing, so I'll be nice and early with that one. Okay, that is all of my autumn sewing plans. I really hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Do let me know your thoughts on which fabric to use for the project bag and which pattern to use for that lovely checked navy fabric. I'd really appreciate your guys' insight into that. If you enjoyed watching, make sure that you give this video a like. It really does help. And also make sure you subscribe for more autumn and winter sewing, crafting, homesteading content. My last video was a vlog of us getting chickens. There's going to be more sort of homestead cottagey vlogs from my little cottage in the English countryside, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on those. And if you want to follow along in sort of real time on my makes, I share quite a lot over on my Instagram, so I'll see you over there. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Bye.